was a gray and rainy autumn afternoon in Portland. In the parking lot of Miller's gas station, the wind rattled a metal sign, making it sway like a sorrowful tune. 7-year-old Marcus had his nose pressed against the window of his mother's old Subaru, silently watching the world outside. He was so quiet that you could almost hear his breathing. His mother, Jennifer, looked at him through the rearview mirror, and her heart tightened. At 32, she carried the weight of life on her shoulders like someone twice her age, losing her husband in a construction accident 3 years earlier, and the constant struggle of raising a child alone had carved permanent dark circles beneath her eyes. "Mom, can I have a snack?" Marcus whispered. His voice was small, but it carried a spark of hope. Jennifer's throat tightened. There were $40 in her wallet to last until Friday, and $23 in her checking account. The hospital bill in her bag weighed on her like lead. "We still have crackers at home, sweetheart," she said, her voice soft but trembling. Each no felt like a knife to her heart. Her hands, gripping the fuel pump, were rough from long nursing assistant shifts. Just then, 5 gleaming motorcycles pulled into the lot. The men riding them, the leather-vested, intimidating figures, everyone stayed out of the way of the Hells Angels. But Marcus wasn't looking at them. His eyes were fixed on a hooded man creeping toward the motorcycles. The man glanced around nervously before crouching down and fiddling with something beneath each bike. Marcus's heart began pounding. He remembered what Uncle Dave, the mechanic, had told him last month. If the brake lines are cut, a vehicle loses control. People can die. Something snapped inside the little boy. Cold fear trickled down his spine, but he remembered what his mother always told him. "Doing the right thing can be very scary, Marcus, but you must do it anyway." He unbuckled his seat belt and pushed the door open. "Marcus, no!" Jennifer shouted, but it was already too late. The small boy, in shoes far too big for him, sprinted across the parking lot, straight toward those tough-looking men. "Please," he cried, breathless. "Don't start your bikes. Someone's trying to kill you." Everything stopped. The laughter ceased. 5 hardened faces turned toward the child running at them. Jennifer's world froze. As she bolted after her son, she saw the expression change on the biggest man's face, the one with braided beard and tattooed arms. It wasn't anger, it was shock and deep concern. The bikes were checked. All 5 brake lines had been expertly cut. If Marcus hadn't shown that incredible courage at that exact moment, the news that evening would have carried a tragedy no one could bear to watch. The bearded giant, who introduced himself simply as Bear, crouched down in front of Marcus. His eyes softened in a way that didn't match his intimidating exterior. "You," he said, his deep voice shaking, "saved our lives today. We won't forget that." Jennifer pulled her son into her arms. This time, the tears streaming down her cheeks were not from fear, but from overwhelming pride. In just a few seconds, her little boy had changed the fate of several lives. "What about you? If you had been in Marcus's place, would you have found the courage to run toward those imposing men?" Share your thoughts in the comments below. Maggie's diner stood like a quiet witness to the past. Its walls were lined with old photographs and yellowed records. The moment they stepped inside, the warm smell of home-cooked food and a peaceful stillness wrapped around them. Jennifer held Marcus close, still trying to process the reality of what they had just lived through. Bear and the others made room for them at their table, as if this small family had always been one of their own. The table overflowed with hot chocolate cakes and freshly brewed coffee. Marcus's eyes sparkled at the giant cookies set in front of him. Jennifer took a sip of her tea when Cole's words echoed in her mind. "You're not safe." That single sentence opened the door to a new, unfamiliar kind of fear. While she had spent years struggling with bills and survival, now she also had to worry about protecting her life and her son's. Bear leaned toward Jennifer, his voice low, serious, and steady. "Listen carefully, Jennifer. These men are determined to finish what they started. But we're with you and Marcus. You have our word." His reassurance eased her heart only slightly. The worry inside her didn't vanish. That night, while Marcus slept soundly beside her in the safe house, Jennifer lay wide awake. Every shadow, every faint sound made her flinch. When she peeked out the window, she saw a figure standing guard in the yard. Dutch, the group's quiet, watchful protector, stood tall and alert, eyes fixed on the horizon. The sight brought her a strange, but profound sense of peace. For the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. The next morning, Cole knocked on the door. He held fresh bagels and a stack of newspapers. "Your story, and Marcus's, is in the news," he said, pride warming his voice. "Everyone in town knows there are two new heroes here." Jennifer's eyes filled with tears when she saw her son's photo in the paper. Marcus had become the town's youngest hero in an instant, but this sudden attention brought new threats with it. Jennifer's phone began filling with menacing messages from unknown numbers. Each one frightened her a little more, pushing her deeper into isolation. Yet every time fear threatened to swallow her, Bear or Cole would show up at her door with steady words and comforting strength. One evening, Bear brought Jennifer an old photo album. "Look," he said as he turned the pages slowly. "We were once just like you, lost, scared, unsure. But over time, we became a family. And now, you're part of our family too." His words sank deep into Jennifer's heart. For the first time in years, she felt a true sense of belonging. "And what about you? Has your life ever changed in an instant because of strangers who brought you hope? What do you think about unexpected friendships? Share your thoughts in the comments below." The threats kept coming, falling one after another like autumn leaves. Every time Jennifer's phone rang, her heart leapt into her throat. The unknown numbers stalked her like a relentless nightmare. One midnight, she heard a car slow down in front of the house before driving off again. When she peeked through the curtain, she saw the brief glow of a cigarette ember flicker in the darkness and then vanish. A cold shiver ran through her. The next morning, when Bear knocked on the door, he read the fear on Jennifer's face instantly. "Don't worry," he said, calm, steady, determined. "They belong to the shadows, but we belong to the sun, and the sun always wins sooner or later." That evening, Cole called Jennifer into the kitchen. He held a small portable alarm device in his hand. "Keep this with you at all times," he said, looking directly into her eyes. "Just press the button. We'll be there." As Jennifer closed her fingers tightly around the device, she realized she felt safer than she had in years. It wasn't just an alarm, it was a lifeline. Days passed like scenes from a thriller. Marcus couldn't go to school, and Jennifer couldn't return to work. Yet this forced confinement brought an unexpected closeness. Dutch started teaching Marcus chess. Bear arrived every Sunday with fresh pastries, and Maggie never missed delivering their evening meals. These people entered Jennifer and Marcus's lives not just as protectors, but as the family they never knew they needed. One Saturday afternoon, Cole approached Jennifer in the yard. "I know this has been incredibly hard for you," he said gently. "Your life has been turned upside down. But I want you to know you and Marcus are not just our responsibility. You're so much more than that." When Jennifer saw the warmth in Cole's eyes, she felt her heart soften. In that moment, she understood. These men weren't simply fulfilling an obligation. They genuinely cared. As the days went on, something delicate began to grow between Cole and Jennifer. Small touches, lingering glances, late-night conversations. After losing her husband, Jennifer felt her heart beating again for the first time. Yet in the middle of this emotional turmoil, she sometimes felt a twinge of guilt. Were these feelings born from fear? Or were they something real, something like love? And what about you? Have you ever found someone who became your light in your darkest moment? Do you believe that true bonds often form in the most unexpected times and with the most unexpected people? Share your thoughts in the comments. It was a cold December night. The quiet surrounding the house felt like the calm before a storm. After tucking Marcus into bed and straightening his blanket, Jennifer walked into the living room. When she glanced out the window, she saw Dutch still sitting vigil on the chair in the yard. Seeing him there eased her nerves, until a sudden metallic crash pierced the silence. A second later, Dutch's muffled shout rang out, "Get back!" Jennifer's heart lurched violently. She reached for the alarm device Cole had given her and pressed the button with trembling fingers. At that exact moment, the front door shook under a brutal impact. Two hooded figures burst into the house, swallowed by the darkness. Jennifer fought the urge to scream and sprinted toward Marcus's room. Stay calm, Mom, the little boy whispered with surprising steadiness. Uncle Cole will come. Outside, the distant growl of engines was getting louder, angry, fast, closing in. Inside, chaos erupted in every corner. Jennifer ushered Marcus into the hallway closet. Don't come out, she breathed. Then she ran to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. Just as she turned back, the front door exploded inward. Bear filled the doorway, his eyes blazing with fury. Behind him stood Cole and the rest of the team. The room instantly brimmed with tension, strength, and unyielding determination. In my house, Bear thundered, his voice rumbling like an earthquake. You don't touch my family. What followed was a few seconds of pure chaos. The two intruders fought desperately, but they were subdued within moments. Cole rushed to the hallway, flung open the closet door, and Marcus leapt into his arms. I knew it, the boy sobbed. I knew you'd come. Jennifer could barely stand as she watched everything unfold. Bear, a deep cut marking his cheek, walked over to her. It's over, he said, calm, firm, certain. Those men were sent to find the one who exposed Tyler Vance. The police are raiding his operation right now. The last link in the chain has finally snapped. Later that night, after the police left and the house grew quiet again, everyone gathered in the living room. Jennifer's hands were still shaking. Cole sat beside her and gently took her hand. You're free now, he whispered. There's nothing left to fear. Bear turned toward her, a rare smile softening his face. This house, he said, belongs to you and Marcus. No rent, no fear. This is your true home now. Tears filled Jennifer's eyes, not from terror or sorrow this time, but from the overwhelming peace, safety, and sense of belonging she hadn't felt in years. Marcus had fallen asleep in Cole's arms, his face serene with trust. And what about you? Has anyone ever risked their own safety to protect you? Do you believe a real family can be built without sharing the same blood? Share your story. Your words may inspire someone else. Dear viewers, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining Jennifer and Marcus on this emotional journey. Their story reminds us once more of the power of hope, courage, and the bonds that blossom when we least expect them. If this video moved you or left a mark on your heart, consider subscribing to the channel. Every subscription helps heartfelt stories like this reach even more people. Don't forget to share your thoughts and your own experiences with us. The connection we build with you is more valuable than anything. Until the next story, take care. Stay full of love and light.